Fan Shih-man, the king who forged the Funan Empire. In the currents of Southeast Asian history, long before Angkor Wat was built, a powerful empire rose from the fertile Mekong Delta. This was the Kingdom of Funan. Thanks to its strategic location on the maritime trade routes connecting the east and west, Funan became a prosperous international commercial hub. Excavations at its capital, Oceo, have revealed a brilliant civilization where Roman gold coins, Han Dynasty bronze mirrors, and Indian religious statues coexisted. However, at the beginning of the 3rd century, Funan was still just a loose alliance of smaller states. History was waiting for an extraordinary figure with the talent and will to unify the kingdom and elevate it to new heights. That person was Fan Shih-man. Chapter 1. Funan, the cradle of the empire. Funan's foundation was built on rich wet rice agriculture and a complex system of man-made canals, which served not only for irrigation but also as vital transportation routes. But its true power came from trade. The Funanese were masterful intermediaries, controlling the flow of goods between India, Persia, and China, accumulating great wealth and absorbing the quintessence of major civilizations. The kingdom's origin is tied to the legend of the marriage between the Indian prince Kondinya and the native queen Soma. This story symbolizes the profound process of Indianization, as Funan adopted religions, Hinduism, Buddhism, writing systems, Sanskrit, and state models from India, while still retaining its own unique identity. It was upon this fertile and open land that a warrior king was nurtured. Chapter 2. From General to King. Fan Shih-man was not a legitimate heir. He was a talented but ambitious general serving under King Fan's son. Historical texts describe him as brave and talented. Seeing his opportunity, he led his troops in a coup, deposing the king and seizing power for himself. The ascension of a military general signaled a pivotal turning point. The era of militarism and territorial expansion had officially begun. Fan Shih-man's first act as the new ruler was to consolidate his military power. He ordered the construction of a massive fleet of warships, with large vessels capable of carrying hundreds of soldiers, equipped for long-range expeditions. Simultaneously, the infantry and elephantry, or elephants, were reorganized into a professional conquering army. He had created a perfect war machine to realize his ambitions. Chapter 3. The Great Conquests. With a mighty army at his command, Fan Shih-man immediately launched military campaigns to expand his territory. His objective was clear: eliminate competitors and gain absolute control over the trade routes. Records state that he conquered more than 10 neighboring kingdoms. His fleet fanned out in all directions, from the coastal states in the east to deep into the Malay Peninsula in the southwest. One of his most important conquests was the capture of Tun Sun, a bustling commercial center and a direct rival to Funan. By conquering strategic port cities, Fan Shih-man seized control of the Strait of Malacca, the choke point of the east-west trade route. The territory of Funan under his reign expanded astonishingly, covering much of modern-day Cambodia, the Mekong Delta, southern Thailand, and parts of the Malay Peninsula. He proclaimed himself the Great King of Funan, a title asserting his absolute hegemony over the region. Chapter 4. An Empire at its zenith. After conquering, Fan Shih-man proved himself to be a brilliant administrator as well. He did not impose a rigid rule, but maintained a flexible system known as the mandala, circle of power. Vassal states were allowed to keep their local rulers, but had two important obligations: to pay tribute and to send their sons or trusted relatives to the Funanese capital as hostages. This hostage policy was an incredibly shrewd tool of governance, ensuring loyalty while also spreading Funanese culture among the elite of the subordinate states. To manage the empire, the legal and tax systems were standardized. The primary source of revenue that sustained the state and the massive army came from trade taxes. Under his rule, the capital of Funan became a truly international society where cultures, religions, and people from all over Asia converged, creating the most golden and glorious era in the kingdom's history. Chapter 5. The Final Expedition. Even at the pinnacle of power, Fan Shih-man's ambition never waned. He decided to undertake the most daring expedition of his life, to conquer the mysterious land known as Chin Lin, the Golden Frontier. The location of Chin Lin is still debated today, It could have been Burma or perhaps a distant land in India. He entrusted the regency to his son, Fan Shih-man, and personally led the mighty fleet out to sea. But destiny did not allow him to complete his final dream. In the middle of the journey, the great warrior king fell gravely ill and passed away. His death was a devastating blow. While the fleet was still at sea, another tragedy unfolded back home. Fan Shih-man, the son of the former king, took advantage of the opportunity to launch a coup. He assassinated the legitimate heir, Fan Shih-man, and usurped the throne. Chapter 6: The Undying Legacy. Although Fan Shih-man's reign ended in tragedy, his legacy in history is immense. First, he transformed Funan from a fragmented collection of states into a unified, powerful empire, establishing a maritime trade power model that became a template for many later kingdoms. Second, his conquests inadvertently promoted a large-scale process of cultural exchange and integration, which helped shape the diverse character of Southeast Asia. Finally, it was he who put Funan on the map of the ancient world, turning it into a formidable power that both China and India had to recognize. The life of Fan Shih-man is an epic of will and talent, and he deserves to be remembered as one of the greatest architects of Southeast Asian history.